shade blunt, you know what I'm saying? It's going down.
John Varlas, I heard of him.
Thomas Sellers, yeah, he's kind of got a reputation.
He gets after it. Big transformation. Big transformation.
Man has changed his physique, changed his life. He gets after it.
Yeah, I know John is coming for me. Keeps me on my toes. But I'm watching him.
Yeah, I got my eyes on Thomas too. Paying real close attention to that man.
Yeah, folks, we're rivals of the gym.
Perfect.
All right, this week on the JS Report, I got a special guest, John Varlas with the Daily Memphian, better known as JV in the area. John, appreciate all you do for the city of Memphis, regarding preps, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Glad to be here.
John, let's just talk about last week. What stood out to you the most last week?
Oh man, that's a good question. I think what stood out to me the most was probably the Germantown defense, the way they played against Collierville. I know talking to Coach Robinson after the game, he was just ecstatic and over the moon to be able to hold those guys to 7 points. And obviously, some things that Collierville did, contributed to that. They got into the red zone 3 times and they turned it over all 3 times, unfortunately for Collierville. So, but give credit to Germantown for making those plays. So I think that stood out. I really liked the way that Covington and Fairleigh competed against each other. I really give both of those respective coaching staffs credit for even putting that game together because, those guys don't have to play. They're different regions, they're not even really close to each other in a lot of respects. So, putting that game together is just going to get both of those programs better prepared for the postseason. It was a great game, arguably one of the games of the year. And then, as long as I'm on the subject of great games, that Houston game where they, had 2 touchdowns, one for each team in the last minute of the game, and Houston comes out with a victory over, arguably the best team in Mississippi. So super impressive for Houston as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it right on the money regarding all 3 of those games real quick. I agree with you going to Germantown's defense is still legit, regarding that. They got all those players going D1 for a reason.
Well, and the thing that, and you go way back too, the thing that I like about that defense, just sitting there watching those guys, it reminds me of those Whitehaven defenses from 2016 and 2012 when they won the state championship. And probably no coincidence because Coach Harmon was the D coordinator then, and he's the coordinator now at Germantown. So that's probably got something to do with it. But yeah, they really have a winning look about them, shall we say.
And then the Covington Fairleigh game, you brought up a good point. It gets the guys ready for the postseason by putting that game together because always playing tough teams always gets you guys ready for the postseason. And then that Houston Tupelo game going back and forth, it seemed like on video that I saw, where Chandler Day scored through a pass with about 6 seconds to go in the game in that one to win that game 38-33.
Yeah.
But what stood out to me was congratulations to Briarcrest and Coach Massey beating Father Ryan.
No doubt. 21. Yeah, that's a great win, and for probably the first significant win that Briarcrest has under Coach Massey. They played really well. JoJo Salim really ran the ball well. Credit to him. Credit to the O-line. And Father Ryan is always a quality, a quality W that you can put on your resume for sure. So yeah, credit to them. And heck, got to give a ton of credit to MUS too for going to Innsworth and ending that jinx. They had never beaten Innsworth before, and they finally did, and they're playing some great football.
Yeah, they won 19-14 over Innsworth at Innsworth in the block punt too. What was the difference in that game
block
too?
Punt late in the third quarter. Hudson Schoaf blocked it, and catcher Miller, the nose guard, scooped it up and took it in, and that was the deciding play there.
Absolutely, and I also think, with Coach Massey and Briarcrest real quick, those two non-league games that the state put together for them, with Liscombe Academy and Knoxville Catholic,
Yeah.
can help them out in the long run by playing these teams in their region. Because I know with the SEC schedule as it is, playing non-region, now it's region time.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Christian Brothers here in a little bit with Briarcrest in a little bit. But just that game in general kind of helped them. Those two games helped them for that Father Ryan game, in my opinion.
No doubt about it. Knoxville Catholic, you mentioned, they're in the state rankings in Division II AAA. Making that drive to Knoxville is always challenging. And it's a good environment, and that's a quality program all around. And you're right. That's another game that'll get you prepared for the postseason for sure.
And then another game, Bartlett won 24-21 at Grenada. It's always good to get a win on the road in a good environment in Grenada for the Bartlett Painters going into this week as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, after that first game they played against MUS. Still not quite sure what happened, but since then Bartlett's been rolling, and they're really playing some good football, especially on the offensive side.
Absolutely. That's my take one. All right, my take two, JV, we're going to talk about Week 7 edition. It's crunch time for a lot of teams, regarding seeding, first of all. And if anybody wants to pull maybe a shocker or an upset, to get them themselves in the postseason, they can do so this week, in my opinion, regarding some games. Let's start out with the Bartlett at Houston game, the game that you might be covering. Just, to me, this game could be a shootout.
Boy, it really could be. I was looking through the records, and this game in 2021 was a 9-6 game, and I hardly think it's going to be anything like that this year, because you got Bartlett with the number 1 offense in the area. You got Houston with the number 10 offense in the area. Both of those teams well over 300 yards per game. I mean, skilled players galore. I mean, you look at Bartlett, you look at what Jaron Johnson's doing, in particular the last 4 weeks. Really cool to see Jade Nealon kind of coming into his own at wide receiver with Jeremiah Reed still out, and Cam Alexander, seems like he's kind of settling into that starting role as a quarterback, and it's tough. It's not easy running that Chris Smith offense, because you got to be on it, you got to be quick, you got to be quick with your reads and your decisions, and it's just everything fast. So you really got to be on your toes as a quarterback, and I think Cam's doing a great job of that. And then Chandler Day, he's been starting since he was a freshman, so he's already a veteran quarterback. 2 good running backs over there at Houston, Damon Sissa, Shelly Davis, and for my money, DJ Miller is one of the best wide receivers in Tennessee. Really great player. So I expect fireworks. I think it's going to be a long night calculating up all the points and yardage in that one.
Right. So funny, I was messing with Coach Thomas a few hours ago. I was like, can we just move this game to Saturday morning, at 9 o'clock in the morning?
No, that's not.
I know, I'm just talking about it, with a nice breeze, 7-degree weather, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, we're first of all Friday night, that type of stuff. But I want this game to go 8 overtimes. That'd be pretty nice.
Well,
not to joke around with it a little bit.
It honestly, it can go as many overtimes as they need to, because I live about 5 minutes from Houston, so that's never a problem for me. So yeah.
Another game, Briarcrest at Christian Brothers. Still out the records, still out the friendships, still out the everybody's 0-0 in that game.
Yeah.
It's a rivalry game. Get there early, I might add too, fans, because how Walnut Grove traffic is.
Well, yeah, kind of limited parking there at Christian Brothers, especially now that they're doing some construction over there. But no, this is a huge game for seating purposes. Briarcrest coming off that big win against Father Ryan, they're going to have a ton of confidence. They're going to, I would imagine they're going to go in there and try to run the ball like they did against Father Ryan, and obviously, Christian Brothers. I honestly, when you look at those two teams, I think that Briarcrest victory is probably a little bit more impressive than any victory that Christian Brothers has on its schedule just yet. But Christian Brothers is always a really tough team with Thomas McDaniel, and they're coming off a big win against Fayette Ware. Fayette Ware. They're gonna have a lot of confidence too, and like you said, throw whatever friendships those two may have out the window, because it's gonna be all to play for on Friday.
Yeah, I think it's going to remind me of that Reggie Neely, when Reggie Neely cut that 4th down pass late in the game years ago.
You're going way back, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. But anyways, like I said, I kind of feel like they're both evenly matched too. On both sides of the football
It sure
because
seems that way.
it's like Cade Carlson will be the difference in my opinion for the Briarcrest Saints. Last week he had a good job running the ball and passing the ball against Father Ryan, and I think he could be the difference. Going into this game, and I think Coach McDaniel might just say, "Hey, I'm going to take my time on offense and just get their offense off the field as well in that game."
Yeah, I mean, you may be right about that, and it may come down to line play as well. The Briarcrest O-line played really, really well, obviously, against Father Ryan, and I think it's going to be incumbent upon Christian Brothers to try to get some stops, and like you say, get those guys off the field, keep them off the field as much as possible.
Yeah, another game, Germantown at Whitehaven. Coach Salisbury was going to try to protect his home turf in that game and try to break Germantown's winning streak in that one. Another game, John, that I want to talk about real quick is FACS at Jackson Christian. Maybe one of the surprises, out in the area. Mitch McDaniel's done a great job. Took him, a few years, but this is the year I think that he can maybe make some noise going into the postseason as well with the talent that he's got running the football. But going to Jackson Christian is going to be a tall order for the Crusaders.
Huge order. I mean, you look at. I mean, you're exactly right. Full credit to everything FACS has done so far. But I think Coach McDaniel would probably tell you that the schedule hasn't been the toughest necessarily up to this point, and this is going to be by far their biggest challenge. Jackson Christian is number 1 in the state in that classification, but obviously, FACS is coming to town with. A kid who I think should get some Mr. Football consideration, Brian Shields, who's just been outstanding. And, FACS has some weapons, but, man, Jackson Christian looks really good in that division, and, on the road it's going to be tough. So, but best of luck. I mean, Coach McDaniel's really doing a heck of a job out there, and a really good dude as well.
And then White Station at Collierville, Coach Conley and the Spartans, have gotten a lot better this year in general regarding both sides of the football, other than that Bartlett game where Bartlett scored like 42 unanswered.
Yeah.
But they were 8 seconds away from beating Christian Brothers at Christian Brothers the first game of the season.
No doubt.
But that game to me is a toss-up because I think White Station's defense can maybe put pressure on Collierville as well for Aiden Glover. That he's been getting a lot of pressure lately to turn the ball over. But that game in general could be a toss-up. Who has surprised you the most in this area so far this season?
I think the first school that pops into my head is Bolton. You think about Bolton being 5-1 at this point in the season is really just a credit to the job that Coach Marshall and his staff is doing out there. And we talk about obviously transfers are affecting high school football, just like college, but at Bolton it's not quote unquote a destination school, so they're really kind of working with what they have and doing it the old-fashioned way out there, coaching up whoever's walking through the door and whoever's in the district, and they're doing a tremendous job. Coach Marshall's a really young guy. I think when they hired him, he was like the second youngest coach in our area. So I doubt if he's much older than 25 or 26 years old, and but they're doing a good job, and so credit to them that they stand out. We mentioned FACS; they're playing some good football. I like what Larry Fitzgerald is doing at Mitchell, getting them off to a 6-0 start, first time since 1979. John, were you even born in 1979? See,
He wasn't either.
Nobody was, except me. I was born in 1979, but yeah, so you got to go way back to find a better start than Mitchell in Mitchell history. So yeah, those 3 off the top, I would say. But no, it's been a really fun season so far, but clearly a long way to go.
Well, if anybody wants to follow you on Twitter or X this week, how can they follow you?
You can follow me at John Varlas, of course, and we got all kinds of great coverage at the Daily Memphian, dailymemphian.com, not just football, but, golf. What are we playing now? Golf, volleyball, soccer. Yeah, we got
even water polo now.
I might get up and do water polo. Yeah, we got it all. So give us some love over there too.
John, great job as always.
Always, buddy. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yep.
Take 3 this week is the Dynamic Power 10. Once again, we'd like to thank Dynamic Physical Therapy for their sponsorship of our Power 10. They're doing a great job out there in Tipton County and surrounding areas, expanding throughout West Tennessee. Keep up the great work, ladies and fellas. And our top 10 going after week 6, at number 10, the TRA Rebels at 5-1. Big gang is Lakeland Prep coming up, see they can bounce back after playing Jackson Christian. At number 9, the Bolton Wildcats, 5-1. surprising the area, surprising all the experts and the pundits out there. And they picked up a nice bounce back win over Hamilton. Number 8, the Houston Mustangs at 4-2. The most quality 4-2 team that you'll see in the area. And I have a feeling that they'll move up the rankings by the end of the season. The big one against Bartlett, if they win this, they'll shoot up the top 10. Number 7, the Millington Trojans at 5-1. They have taken care of business and set themselves up with a home playoff game, playing 3 straight region games. And now the Melrose game at the end of the year will be for first place if Melrose take care of business on their end. Number 6, the Mumford Cougars at 5-1. Nice homecoming win over Kingsbury, 71-0. And they have Arlington that they have to travel to this week. Number 5, we're into our top 5. The Collierville Dragons at 4-2. Big game against White Station, a quality team. Can the Dragons keep their momentum going and try to bounce back after the tough loss to Germantown? Number 4, the Crusaders of FACS at 5-0. Biggest test of the year is coming up. They had to go to Jackson Christian. A lot of players on their side with good quality program up there, so we should see they can pull off an upset. Number 3, the Bartlett Panthers at 5-1. Like before mentioned, Houston Mustangs, they have to go there, travel there, tough road environment. But Chris Smith and that offense seems to be rolling and clicking. Should be a shootout. Number 2, the MUS Owls, 5-1. Big win over Ensworth. They ended the jinx. Way to go, Owls. They're flying high. Can they take on this Father Ryan team and take them down? Who's going to come in with an upset mentality? And that number 1 in our Dynamic Power 10, the Germantown Red Devils at 6-0. They have to go down to the Haven and take on Coach Salisbury and those boys who would love to put that blemish on that other side of the record and make them 6-1. But the Red Devils and their defense seem to be ready for anything and any challenge. So that's the Dynamic Power 10 of this week. And make sure you check out all the other areas, top rankings, because, hey, we kind of think we know what we're doing, and we're trying to predict the future a little bit, and let's see who gets it right the most.
All right, Coach Thomas from the Houston High School Mustangs. Coach Thomas, welcome to the JS Report this week.
Thanks for having me.
Always, Coach. Coach, congratulations on that hard-fought win against Tupelo last week. Let's talk about that game just a little bit, in detail a little bit.
So, obviously, Tupelo's a very talented team. You know, they were ranked 1 or 2 in the state, in whatever poll you want to look at. And, you know, size-wise, they're a very physical team, and, you know, they got athletes all over the field. So it was a great challenge for us defensively. You know, offensively, we found some good matchups. DJ Miller really had a great game. You know, Damon Sissa really ran the ball well. Chandler Day threw it well. So we made some plays offensively. Defense was really good in spots. Obviously, you know, gave up some big plays, but when you're facing a team like Tupelo, it's just try to slow them down enough to where we had the ball at the end and we scored at the end, and that's kind of how it went.
Can you say that maybe that South Panola game early on in the season could have got his guys ready for this Tupelo challenge?
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, when we set the schedule up, I knew it was going to be tough. And, you know, probably when you set up our non-conference, you said Tupelo was probably our toughest test. And so, you know, playing South Panola down there, you know, was a really hard-fought game, lost by 2. And then, you know, I'm a guy that believes, you know, things happen for a reason. And so you have to go through that battle and go through that adversity in order to get a win like this against a great Tupelo team. So, did it help us? I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Just talk about your quarterback. You talked about, you know, Chandler. You know, he's to me this year, he's got a lot improvement, you know, with his deep ball as well. Just talk about his improvement from this year to last year.
Oh, he's a hard-working kid. You know, he's up at 5 a.m. all the time working out. And, you know, he's put on about a good 20 pounds since last year. So his arm strength is better. His leg strength is better. You know, he's always been a good playmaker with his legs as well as his arm. And in mental part of it, he's become a mental you know, student of the game. So
right.
Great to have at the quarterback position, no doubt about it.
All right, Coach. Thanks. All right, Coach Thomas, the game of the week, as people call it in the Shelby County area, and the 901 area code, Bartlett versus Houston. Coach, let's talk about the matchup against Bartlett this week.
Obviously, you know, Bartlett's very talented on both sides of the ball, very well coached. You know, offensively, I know they like to go very fast, and they're very efficient at what they do. You know, they can run the ball. They got a real, you know, physical offensive line and a really good fullback, and you know, great runner. Jaron Johnson's obviously, he's been really special this year, so it's going to be a challenge for our defense to slow that down. And Cam Alexander's been doing some good things in the passing game as well, so, and running the ball. So they got weapons on the outside that can stretch the field, so it's going to be a great challenge for our defense.
What can you give me? I'm not saying you're going to give me the whole game plan, and whatnot, but just give me some keys for the Mustangs to prevail in this game.
Well, I think in any game, and especially a game of this magnitude, you got to protect the football. You got to be able to run it. You got to be able to run and set up the throw. So, stressing to our guys, ball security, making good decisions with the football from the quarterback position, and take advantage of what the defense gives you.
And I also think third down conversions, get off the field on third and long or vice versa, that probably could be a key in this game as well, because I have seen some games this year where it's been a challenge for some team, to get off the field on third down. So third down conversions could be a key in this game. And also special teams, as well.
No doubt about it. Special teams, it's going to come down to about 5 or 6 plays in the night. You never know when they're going to happen, and a lot of those could be on special teams. And special teams are just that. It's situations that you almost can't practice for that happens in some of those plays, and you just have to have the right players make the right plays at the right time, and you never know when it's going to be a complete game changer.
Absolutely, Coach. Good luck this week, and then good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Appreciate you as always.
Always.
All right, my take 4, JV, welcome back. Postseason is coming up for the ladies edition of the sport, soccer and volleyball. Anybody really think they can, or do you think anybody from the Memphis area can make some noise in the postseason and bring the state title home?
Well, for sure.
Soccer.
Yeah, for sure. When you look at soccer, obviously you gotta look at the teams that made it to state last year. So in AAA, that's Houston and Collierville. Mm-hmm. They're both really good, really strong. They're gonna finish up the regular season against each other a week from today. So that'll be October 4th on Wednesday. That'll be at Houston Middle. Huge game for those teams. Then in Division II, Briarcrest and Hutchinson both advanced to state last year. Both really good teams. And then Lakeland Prep, first-year program last year, they made it to state in their very first year of varsity competition, and they've got another strong team again this year. So you look at those guys, obviously in soccer, volleyball. I'm going to kind of repeat some of the same names, but Collierville, they finished runner-up last year at the state tournament. They lost to Cleveland in the final. We had a story on them this week. They're playing really good despite losing some key pieces, and they expect to be back this year. Lakeland Prep in their division is going to be competitive. Briarcrest is the defending state champion in the large public school division. And St. George's in the small public school division. They actually just knocked off Briarcrest the other night. Wow. So lots of good teams in our area. Houston, Arlington, Bartlett, all with quality programs in AAA. So yeah, it's going to be a real exciting volleyball postseason. Volleyball postseason starts up next week. I think we still got about a week or so of the regular season in soccer, but yeah, it's about to gear up for everybody.
All right, I've asked you this numerous times. Are you satisfied where the basketball, volleyball, football state championships are?
I'm satisfied. The coaches aren't satisfied, but I'm satisfied because I think what a lot of people don't look at is the infrastructure that they have there. So, you have to have hundreds and hundreds of volunteers to put on events like this, and all those people they've done it for a long time, and they're all based in the mid-state area. So I just don't necessarily see how you can rotate these tournaments around like some people want to do. 1 year in Knoxville, 1 year in Memphis, 1 year in Nashville, and then expect to keep the same type of volunteer infrastructure that is so necessary to put on tournaments like these. I mean, you've seen it. Yeah. They're huge undertakings, and the people that help out with that are doing it strictly voluntarily. So, can you expect those folks to travel and be in hotels for weeks, for a week at a time and that kind of thing? I don't know. It's hard. I understand the frustration. I know I get it from a coaching standpoint, from a parent standpoint, but, just from a logistical standpoint, yeah, I think it's fine.
Absolutely.
gentlemen, appreciate you coming in. I know it's friendly competition, Daily Memphian, West 10 Media, but hey, I think you got the same objective I got. It's about the kids.
Nothing but the kids, man. We're trying to bring the spotlight on the great athletes in Shelby County, and we're trying to look good while doing it too.
Hey, we got to stay in good shape in order we can cover them. Let's flex on 'em.